You can hear me?
Yeah. Good evening and welcome to another episode of Crossroads. This is my last one for tonight. Yahoo! So, this is my third one. Okay, LOJ, how are you?
I'm doing great. Definitely doing great right now. Unfortunately, today, actually, as a hip hop head, today's a sad day. I don't know if you heard of a rapper named DMX.
All right, yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, he passed away today because of drug addiction. That he's been battling it almost his whole life, actually. And I think that's one of the topics I really wanted to get in touch with people actually about today with drug addiction and also of childhood trauma. One of the things is that people don't talk about is mostly mental health, and I'm glad that in our era we actually started to talk more about mental health. And
Right.
I'm actually people like my age are really opening up more about their mental awareness, and I'm actually glad about that because a lot of people don't really understand about what people really go through with mental illness. Um, Unfortunately, DMX, he's a rapper. Most of the time, he always paints his pain in a always in a song, and you could tell that he actually had childhood trauma. And one of the things that he actually talked about in the song was his mom used to beat him up. She one time she knocked him in the tooth out, took his tooth out when he was 6 years old, and it was a lot of it's a typical. Unfortunately, when it's living in like in underprivileged communities for black and brown communities, it's always you hear the same scenario about the kids that go through this and communities that what kids go through. And unfortunately, that's one thing I want to talk about because especially in the black and brown community, they don't talk about mental health. That they always look
Mm,
at you as a weakness, and
mm,
that's one thing that I like to address. A lot of his like especially where I'm from, Hispanic people, when they look at you at talk about mental health, like mental issues or anything like that, they look at you as a sign of weakness, and you basically just say to man up.
mm.
And
Well,
that's one
it's the
thing
best,
where I do not. Yeah,
Jay. It's the best. You've come to the best place because my podcast and everything about my podcast is all about mental health.
yeah,
It's all about mental health and other subjects. So knife crime, all sorts. So I'm glad you want to mention that tonight. The trouble is with mental health. The trouble is we only just started doing a men's group on a
yeah,
Wednesday
yeah,
because we found that many men weren't talking.
yeah,
Okay, and what they do is they're afraid to speak to each other.
yes, yes,
So,
uh,
so what we do at the moment is that we've started a group up where
yeah.
men can kind of like actually talk together because men are more. Have you got a radio on at all?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you have a radio on there?
A radio?
Yeah.
Oh no, there's just people talking in the background. Actually, I'm sorry
All
about
right.
that.
Okay. I've got a bit of echo. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got a bit of an echo there.
Hmm.
So what I'm trying to say is like men are more quieter than women about talking about mental health and everything. So
Yeah.
we started a group up where a bunch of men comes together either on internet
Yeah.
or in person, but at the moment on internet, and we just talk about different things about mental health how it's affecting us as men.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it much. And
Hmm.
what do you think of that then?
Yeah, that's a thing. It's always been it's I think it's a culture that they always look at men as a dominant one, that they should show basically show a lot of testosterone. I guess that's what it is. But unfortunately, they always put men's to the side. They, not, I'm not to say bashing women or children as well. Because also women's health and women's mental health and women's and children's mental health is really important. But they don't mention much more about men's mental health as well. And that's one thing. And I think men are really scared to actually look for help. Unfortunately, also going to the doctor. I speak for myself as well because I don't like going to the doctor as well myself. And we just don't. As a thing, I just don't like going to the doctor. But unfortunately, we have to.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think a lot of men have to really get really well aware of their mental health, physical health as well. They like to fight it off for themselves. They like to hide that. Put that into themselves. You know what? We could deal with that ourselves, and we can
Mm.
just. But it's not the correct way actually,
Do
because
you
usually when
do you remember that song? It goes like this. I'm so macho. I wanna be big
yeah,
and strong. Well, that's
yes,
what men think they are, and
yes,
men are so we think that we are strong enough and we can take anything,
yes.
but we can't.
No, no, definitely not. It's really it's a sad thing actually. It's really a sad on. It's really sad that I think a lot of men feel that way. They just like to hide it, or they just bottle it up with alcohol or any type of drug. Usually they will. They will. The first thing they will go through. They'll work up the whole weekday, and then in the weekend they'll just go bottle it up with a bottle of whiskey, a bottle of beer, whatever it is, and they go for that type of pleasure and just
Yeah,
bottle
but
it up.
don't you think, OJ? Don't you think? No. Let's, in the beginning, you was talking about the rapper.
Yes.
Now, for a long time, he's been taking drugs, and also he was drinking quite a bit,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it was his choice what he wanted to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was his choice, but then he also mentioned because he had a mentor at the age of 14. He had a mentor. He was 30 years old, and he was 14, and he actually looked up to him.
Hmm.
And the most messed up thing about grown people take advantage of these kids, that he actually DMX at that time, he was 14. He wanted to try weed, but this guy, a 30-year-old guy, laced up his weed with crack cocaine. Since that day, he's been really messed up in the head
Yeah.
because at a
But
young
what I'm
age.
trying to say, what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah,
There's two arguments of the story. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
One, I'm all for mental health, but the trouble is, one, you can either take weed or leave it,
Hmm.
right? Or take
Yeah,
it, right? And at the end of the day, you take much weed, take drugs and everything, you're going to die. Now, I'm not trying to be horrible. I'm a Christian.
yes.
So I'm not trying to be horrible. But what I'm trying to say is, if you are, if if he's a person who takes drugs,
Yeah.
right? If
Hmm.
it's weed or whatever, he shouldn't
Yeah.
have done it.
Yeah.
All right.
Hmm.
So whatever he's done, he's got choice. We
Hmm.
didn't. You didn't put it down his mouth or his friends. He
Yeah.
took it himself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course. I think that's the thing. People have choices, you know, and unfortunately, people are, like I said, people are different. People don't know how to handle a situation, don't know how to handle a problem. So the first thing, first choice that they go to is probably drugs. Especially kids here in New York. The first thing they go through when there's a lot of childhood trauma going on, especially going up, living in the ghetto, whatever it is that they live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, it's that's the first thing they will escape to is drugs, and they will look the environment around them, the people that they look up to, the people that they see. They will first they'll go around and see drugs.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We don't have leaders. We don't have anybody who looks up to people and to stay to stop it, because it's just a problem that it's a never ending cycle that these kids go through.
Can I just say something to you, right? This
Yes.
guy, he was a rapper. Now
Yeah.
he should kind of like well known, right? He must have been making some money,
Yeah.
and he should have been what you call a role model, kind of
Yes.
saying like kind of like teaching these kids, getting these kids off the street, right?
Yes. Of course. Yeah.
Teaching them, right?
Yeah.
Now you don't teach anybody if you kind of like go ahead and kind of like want to keep taking drugs or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. He
But
was.
I know he's had a past.
Yes.
I know that he's had a past. He's had a bad past. He's had bad experiences.
Yeah.
But come on, you can't kind of like blame it on because he's got problems. You take drugs. That's just a cop out. That's a cop out, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Look, I wish everybody had a different alternative in dealing with the problems. I wish that,
Mm,
but there's people that we can't control, and that that they choose these drugs in order to deal with the problem. I wish that was a different alternative. Um, and also people, they get into actually there's other people that get into drugs because of pharmaceutical companies. They try to give them codeine for like a pain reliever on their teeth, whatever, and they start
mm,
taking it, but without knowing they're going to be addicted with it.
mm.
That's one thing that unfortunately we can't. I wish there was a different way of people, they can look in a different alternative.
Mm.
But it's just sad. I wish people, this like the way that he grew up, the way that he over drug overdose that he actually did is just
Mm.
it's just never ending cycle. It's sad, but there's other people who could be role models and they could actually change it up and everything as well. And
Yeah.
there's other actually rappers.
The trouble is, we could go on Facebook, we can go on Twitter, we can do all this talking,
Yes.
right? But the trouble is, why don't people, instead of doing talking, go out there
Hmm.
and kind of like preach what what they speak about. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah, yeah, of course. Definitely. There's alternative hip hop artists like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, different there's other rappers who are really conscious rappers. Um, they actually they don't preach, but they actually tell these kids to go to a different path.
yeah,
Um,
oh yeah.
of
I'm not
course,
asking about preaching. It's like you. It's like you yourself. You live over there. Now, if it was
yeah,
me, I'm against drugs. I'm totally against it.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, of course, yeah,
I don't believe in it. I am really, really against it. But
yeah,
but it's like yourself, right? I know you're not a rapper, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, you've got a brain on your shoulder. You're very, you are very kind of like, really good thinker and everything like that.
yeah,
You could kind of like actually educate them yourself.
yeah, of course.
Do you know that you can kind of like spread the message out there?
No, of course, definitely, of course. When I got the chance, whenever I see like a young person who's 17, 18, whatever it is, I usually would guide them, or give them a little advice, whatever it is. Um, and also because the way I was raised as well, I had a father figure as well. That's the thing. Unfortunately, where I used to grow up right there, there was no guidance from their fathers actually, especially when I was in middle school, in high school as well. The majority of they had no father figure. But unfortunately, I was grateful to have a father figure that actually, my dad, he showed me a movie, Boys from the Hood, at 8 years old, showing me that this is the reality, this is the street rules of what
Mm,
happens.
mm,
And that actually kind of opened me up, and I'm like, you know what, I'm definitely not gonna be in the street life actually. but it's always good to have guidance, someone that you could look up to, especially
Yeah,
these
yeah.
kids. But
But we,
unfortunately, yeah,
every one of us can do something. You don't
yeah,
have to be. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be anybody. We all can do something. The trouble
yeah.
is, we make so many excuses up, and we all go on Facebook. I see lots of people going on Facebook. They're talking about it. And it's all right talking about it. It's got to be done. You got to do something.
Yes, and that's what a lot of these like I said, old heads rappers are talking about that right now. These old rappers, they talking about we should change the culture because a lot of these, it's not only DMX that's been passed away. Like Mac Miller passed away. How can I say, Little Peep, who also of drug overdose as well. There's a
Mm,
lot of rappers that over the past couple of years have been dying because of drugs,
mm,
and a lot of people are speaking up about it and trying to, because a lot of these lyrics they was talking about codeine, they was talking about pills, they was talking about
yeah, right.
such and such, and they was glorifying it, and a lot of kids were using it. And also Juice World, he passed away, also drug overdose. And it sucks because also I don't know if you heard a rapper named Future, he actually talked about codeine, but at the end of the day he's making green juices, having dyes and everything, because I think that's what these labels want them to do. They want them to actually talk about these drugs, talk about this violence, whatever, because that's what sells. That's
Yeah,
their quota. That's what it is.
that's it. Yeah,
You
yeah,
talk
that's
about
it.
positive things, guess what? You're not on the radio no more. And that's
Yeah,
what happens with a lot of these rappers that they
mm,
don't be on the radio. They want you to talk about these stuff.
yeah,
So that's what it
yeah,
is.
yeah. You were kind of like talking about. You mentioned to me earlier about traumas and stuff. You know, um, have you ever had traumas when you were in your life? Have you ever had mental health traumas?
No, that's the thing. The childhood traumas, no, no, and that's the thing. I'm blessed to have not had a childhood trauma. It's only the only thing I was just dealing with was anxiety and panic attacks at the time. But the only thing that I will say is that a lot of my friends did have childhood trauma. The things
Mm,
that they will tell me, I cannot point it out, but I met a lot of them that they've been touched by their uncles, touched by
mm,
their aunts, touched like they've been drug abused,
mm,
certain things that they tell me, and and it's sad, and those are the childhood traumas that I hear from them, and just that, they just don't know
mm.
what to say. That's the thing, and they deal with that, and to this day they just still scarred with that, and they don't know how to go on with life because they always stuck in that mentality of being in the past.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
one thing that I just like to mention, because it's like I always mention the black and brown community, because this is lack of help in there. There's not that much
yeah.
people,
Well, the trouble is, we live in a world at the moment, right? We live in a
Yes,
world where black, it's like Black Lives Matter, say, right?
yes,
Let's bring that up. It's like
hmm
Black Lives Matter. Now, the trouble is, long time ago, right? Whites were separated, the blacks were separated, right?
yeah, yeah.
Now, in my world, we should be all together
We
as
should,
one, as
yeah, we
one.
should.
Because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, you're a human being, I'm a human being.
Of
What?
course,
It doesn't matter what color you are.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, of course. Look, honestly, I wish, like I said, the first thing that we are, at the end of the day, we're humans.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
that unfortunately, there's people that don't look at that way, and and also the system that we got to fight against that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it is in in the UK, the system, but I know in America the system is really way completely different for black and brown people, and that's why Black Lives Matter was created. Um, and the thing is, I get a lot of heat for this because I always say I don't support the organization. I support the
Yeah.
movement,
Oh,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're
Yeah,
actually behind the movement. That's a whole different topic that I'd like to discuss
yeah,
about later on. But
yeah,
like I
for
said,
sure.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, so that, that's the thing. That's why they need to bring awareness. People in the black and brown community are fed up actually with the whole system, with the stop and frisk in New York City that they've been stopping, also mass incarceration
Yeah.
with drug dealing. Now they actually legalize weed, while there's still people of color in the prison systems that are
Mm.
locked up because of weed.
The trouble is, a white person won't get stopped, but a black person or a brown person will.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be funny, but they would, wouldn't they?
yeah,
You know, and why? And why? You know, I can't
yeah,
see somebody white. I can't see myself or somebody else being stopped and frisked, but a black person does. You
yeah,
know, society needs to wake up, and say, like, we're all great big one big family type thing, and we all should get on. And you know, did I'll tell you what, if someone came to me and said you're purple,
yeah,
what does that mean to me? It doesn't mean nothing to me. You're a
yeah. Of course.
person.
No, of course, yeah, of course. And that's the problem. That's the problem with the system. Like I said it before, the system, it has to be dismantled. You know, like, I don't like putting bandages on a system. I hate it. I want the whole thing, the whole revolution. You know what I mean? I want the
Mm.
whole thing to be changed up, because unfortunately, that's the way I said it. Like I said to be, people can march all they want, but like I'm not in these protests. You know, like I said before, it's just that it's the system that needs to be changed, because we're marching and marching, but guess what? Nothing's being done. Again, like I said, the only thing what we could do is just probably vote. And unfortunately, I don't vote myself, but the only thing that could be done is just voting your local officials, local judges, your local sheriffs as well, and that's the only way you could do it. Presidents, that's a whole different realm, or anything with senators as well is different, But if we're trying to change the system, it has to be from the ground up, from grassroots, and to the ground up, just to dismantle this whole system. But in America is way completely different. I'm glad that more people are waking up right now, and
Mm.
but honestly, yeah, it's really crazy that how in America it is that, for black and brown people. And yeah, I would like to discuss more about Black Lives Matter group. Like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah. I'm
yeah,
all
like
for that. I'm all for that.
yeah, because
Did you?
actually I'm
Yeah. Go on.
yes,
Carry on.
yeah, like I said, like I'm for the movement, 100% for the movement, but the organization, I'm not behind it. Um, like I
Do
said,
you
I get
think
a
the
lot of people.
organization? Do you think the organization is a bit fraud?
Yeah, because they're donating money to the Democratic Party. Well,
Yeah.
the Democratic Party is, they're not our friends.
Yeah.
Most of these Democratic parties are really they're centrist. A lot of people confuse them as communist, which they're not communism at all.
Mm.
They're center right people, like I said, and we actually donated money to the Democratic Party. If we're gonna donate money, we're gonna be for the party, for the Black Lives
Mm.
Matter movement party only. That's it.
Mm.
We don't have to
Mm.
put no money to any of these other Democratic officials, whatever that we need to do. No, I'm not with that.
The trouble is, though, Jay, it's all right doing all the, as you say, it's all right doing all these marches and whatever you're doing, the protest. But the trouble is, at the end of the day, if people want something to change, I'm sorry, but they have to get off their, backside and kind of like, you know, start doing it themselves, because the problem is not going to come to you. You got to go to you. People's got to go to the problem and sort it out.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
like a bottle of water. If you want a bottle of water, the top's not going to come off when you go, oh, top, come off. You've got to go to
Yeah,
the bottle and take the screw.
yeah, of course. No, but little by little, we're in New York, especially they're winning battles right now with qualified immunity right now with police officers in New York City. Qualified immunity was that the police officers were protected by law, but now you could sue them now if they did anything now. So whatever the police do to you, now you could sue them. So now that qualifying immunity is hitting in New York now, we're actually the first city in the country that we have qualified immunity now. So little by little, we're getting there. it's not gonna take overnight. No, it's not. It's gonna take. This is gonna
Mm.
take years for this to happen. This is gonna take years.
I remember about, oh gosh, I can't remember when I think I was around about 23 or something like that. I was 23 and I met um a black girl, and
Yeah,
we were going out, and every time we went out, even if it was in a restaurant or a pub, there were people, shouting names, to her. I didn't get anything, shouting like, monkey and all sorts of stuff,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and it just got onto it. It got on my plate because at the end of the day, she hasn't done nothing. That person hasn't done nothing to
yeah.
deserve that.
No, of course, yeah,
You
of
know
course,
what I mean? But
yeah, of course.
people are so horrible in this world, I'm afraid. And, I just kind of like, I just wish that people's kind of like attitudes change. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
unfortunately, we have to deal with people like that. Unfortunately, um, it just sucks. The only thing we could do is just for ourselves. We could be good for other people, and and pay it forward. But unfortunately, the bad apples they're never gonna go away. That's how society is. And it's horrible. The only thing we just have to be good with each other, be good with each other, respect each other, and because I'm not, like I said, I'm not perfect. I have my flaws too as well. But like I said, it's always it's good to be good with each other. Um, but yeah, it just it sucks. Like I always thought like people could change, but I accept the reality that people could change or people could not change. We have it's a tough pill to swallow,
Yeah, of
basically.
course it is. Everybody's got, you've got a choice in this world. You can either change or not change. It's up to you, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
It's up to
definitely it's a
people. Yeah. So, I'm afraid, it's life, and if people want to take drugs, that's up to them. If people want to booze or whatever, we all got choices in the world, and sometimes we take the wrong choice, and
yeah, yeah, of
things
course,
happen.
yeah,
And
yeah, of
also,
course,
and also with the rappers and everything, and people, when they got fame and when they got money, Jay, the
yeah,
trouble is life life at the window seems far away because they're on drugs. They got the money. They can do what they want with it. The rappers are probably involved in the gangster lifestyle too.
yes,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. That's the thing. Like I always tell people, I always tell, especially these young kids, right? They think that's real. They think that all that flashy lifestyle is real, but a lot of these rappers are all these rollies, these jewelries, they're rented actually, or
Mm,
these cars that they got, they're rented. And I always say, don't believe everything that you see on the TV, on YouTube, whatever it is, because a lot of these rappers are broke
mm,
because it's like these music labels is a whole thing. I mean, I could talk about the music label because I'm into music a lot. So a
mm.
lot of these music labels are like bank loans. They give these rappers $100,000 and like, yo, here's your $100,000, and they use that money and actually they waste on everything. They probably waste on a rollie. They're probably wasting on a house. They're probably waste. I mean, a house is not bad, but like I said, like a watch, jewelry, on clothes, and then when it time to get these labels, they want their money back at the end of the day.
Of course they
And
do. Yeah.
yeah, and they have these 360 deals as well.
Mm.
These 360 deals are really juicing all this money from this rapper. So it just it's a lot of things that a lot of people don't see behind the scenes in the music industry. But but like I said, yeah, it's a lot of the young kids that you need that we need to focus on, that they don't know what's going on because they think it's, oh wow, it's a flashy, they got the money. No, I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, they probably got money. They probably got money, but a lot of them they don't even own their own music as well because the label got them to the, they got into the balls basically. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. Jay, thanks very much. I think I love talking to you. I think you're a good bloke. Um, Next time, what we're going to do is talk about Black Lives Matter and other bits. All right.
Yeah, of course,
Um,
definitely. We're gonna talk about more about that.
yeah. Thanks very much for joining me, and
No,
you have a good time. Look after yourself. Until then, I'll get my wife to send you another date. All right.
no, sure, of course, no problem.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks.
All right, no problem. Have a good day. All right.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Okay, that was Jay McGuire. And you know, at the end of the day, does it matter if we're black, white, grey, green? I reckon as we should all be equal and as one. We all should get on. But I'm afraid society doesn't allow it, and and because of that, we are because because of that we're all at war against each other, and I think something needs to stop. It's okay hiding behind um, hiding behind a computer, say, and doing all the typing and talking about it. But I think what we need to do is start doing something about it instead of kind of like, sitting on our backside and not doing nothing about it. And I think we should start doing something now. Color, if you're white, brown, pink, or whatever, doesn't matter. All what matters is this, that it's your brother and sister, really, because we're all human at the end of the day. Good night. God bless. Bye bye.